Happy Sunday, everybody. My name is Alan Weisberg. I'm an actor and a host of the Love of Acting interview series, where I get a chance to talk to wonderful actors, directors, acting teachers, casting directors, producers, showrunners, basically everybody from the industry, and we get a chance to talk shop. In those episodes, I shared my approach to acting. I call it the butterfly effect method of acting. And then I created a video, I'll put it right below this, where I explain kind of my approach and how it works. And then last week, I had a chance to really kind of try it out and to see what it applies to an audition, and in a complex audition, where I had to come up with 3 distinct characters, very, very different characters, very different energies. And I had to do that basically the next day. So I cannot name the show for obvious reasons, but it's a really serious project. It's an amazing opportunity to just audition for something like that, and to have a chance to do 3 separate characters. So it was very heavy, right? So it's 11 pages of dialogue. One character has 2 scenes, another character has 2 scenes, the last character has 1 scene. They're of varying kind of varying length and complexities, but it's a lot. And I had to do it in 2 different languages. I'm multilingual, you know that, and I had to do it in both languages. So I thought, what a great opportunity to utilize the method and see if it actually can help me, or if it's going to be a hindrance. Because I keep on saying how much I love it. Well, let's put it to the test. So in this video, I wanted to let you know exactly how I approached those auditions. I do not know whether I got it or not, and that's kind of irrelevant at the moment. But I wanted to kind of lay out my process. So if you want to utilize it for yourself, you know step by step how I did it. Again, this is not me saying that my approach is any better than anybody else's. I am not Stanislavski. I come from the same cultural background, but I think that's where the similarities stop. So use it if it's something that resonates with you. That's all I'm saying. So I, again, had to come up with 3 separate characters. So the way that I did it is I kind of read all of the sides, and I looked at the characters and I said, okay, so this one has the least number of lines. And this one has the most number of lines. This one is kind of in the middle. So I thought, okay, so because I have to segment things out, and because I have to constantly switch my brain, because I have to do, have I said because too many times already? Because I have, there you go, one more time. Since I had to do it in 2 separate languages, it really kind of messes with your brain. So one thing at a time. I really had to keep myself on the straight and narrow in terms of segmentation. So I read the sides. I read them without trying to learn the lines. I read the sides just to kind of start getting a feel for what these characters are. And then I started jotting down some notes. One character is a kind of a low-level military man, somebody who doesn't seem to like people very much. So I wrote that down. Somebody who doesn't seem to be successful in life. Like all of these things that come up, some of them are off the page, some of them are just feelings that I'm getting as I read, how the character interacts with other people in the sides. So I jot down some basic kind of characteristics and things that stood out to me. Then as I break it down, I say, okay, well, I need to do all of these. It's today. And notice that, this is not yesterday. I noticed that I have facial hair, and I had quite a little bit of facial hair at that time. And I thought, okay, so this low-level military man, he seems like he's more of this rough cut guy. I'm going to use the fact that I have facial hair. So I slicked my hair back, and I just got a haircut, so the hair was longer. I slicked the hair back. I let the facial hair work. I took off my glasses, and the next part was, how do I really get into this character? Because the outside gave me certain way into it, but it's not the character himself. So I went back to my notes, right? Low-level military, doesn't like people, kind of has an authority to him, but not somebody who's really very intelligent. So I kind of jotted these down, and in my approach of the butterfly effect, I need to use myself kind of as the root. So I'm the tree, and then each character is a separate branch, and it becomes sort of an alternate reality, right? I'm Alan. I know who I am. I know my experiences. So I thought, what can I use, and which part of my life can I go back to? Which point, as if I'm going back into the past, and then take a turn. Instead of following the main branch. I wanted to go outside of it. So for this military man, I basically thought, okay, well, were there any points in my life where I thought about going to the military? Okay, kinda. So then I remembered that I was dating a girl when I was, 13 or 12 years old, and that girl's father was a high-ranked military officer. And I thought, okay, let's play with that. So I thought, what if I continued dating her, and then we end up getting married, and then my parents move away to another country, and I stay back, and then that her father becomes a father figure to me because he's in a high level military. That would, make sense that I would go into that profession as well. And then we get divorced. I'm not successful. The father does me a favor and kind of gets me a job. So I am at a point where, I'm on my own. I went into the military. I'm not successful. I'm unhappy because, my wife and I are not married anymore. And I have this deep kind of hatred for myself, for my life, and I take it out on the people who are around me. So it matched everything, and it allowed me to kind of start with who I am, find a point in my past, and then take a side, turn. So it's not who I am, but because of all of these things, because the value structure, because the emotions, because everything starts playing, the that person starts forming, and I start embodying that version of Alan. And that version of Alan is angry. That version of Alan doesn't like people. That version of Alan, the energy is very grounded. It's dark. It's brooding. It's kind of moody. This is the type of person that likely drinks. Now, so I get into that character, and like as I'm talking right now, I feel my eyes kind of close more, and I feel that the stare is a little different, and I'm starting to get over there. That's not my norm. My norm is, a happy kind of silly go lucky. That's a very different kind of structure. So I go there, I get into that character, I embody him, I do the scene, in another language, I do it a few more times, and I am done, right? So that person, least number of lines, has the two scenes, so I get it done. The next character, and then I forget what I need to do at that point, which I have to remind myself in a minute later. Excuse me. I'll remind you in a minute. But I kind of stay in that energy, and that's the wrong thing to do because I need to get back to who I am, because I am about to switch into a completely different character. Because the second character that I'm playing is a scientist, somebody who is isolated, somebody who's kind of in his own world, always focusing on work for years and years and years in a super secret facility, and it's a person that doesn't have a lot of interaction. So on the sides, it says hyper energy, right? So a hyper energetic person, completely different from the low grade angry military man that I was playing just before. So I had to remind myself, hey, you're still in that energy. You're still in that dark, brooding one. That's the wrong one. So because I know who I am and I know my base, it's very simple to get back into it from that alternate reality version of what Alan's life could have been like.
Sorry, I couldn't hear what you said.
Siri, it's okay. I'll explain it, and it's all recorded. So it's easy to find my way back. And then I'm like, okay, good, I'm Alan again. Now let's switch into this hyper energy kind of person that is stuck behind the desk, very scientific. Well, I'm not a very scientific person. So is there a point in my life where I could have become one? So I started kind of digging based on my notes of what the characteristics of this person are. I go down, I go, and I recall that I was fascinated with the number pi. And to this day, I still feel like I see patterns. And it's not one pattern, it's multiple patterns that you have to kind of work in conjunction. And I remember spending hours on this as a kid, thinking that I can find these patterns, and then coming back to it later and back to it later. Kind of every 10 years, I come back to it and start finding these patterns again. So I said, okay, that's a great butterfly effect to use. So I am still me, same Alan, but as a kid, I say, let's decide that I actually find the patterns in pi. The next thing that happens is that the military comes in and says, okay, you found some patterns, you're coming with us, little boy. And that little boy ends up spending the next 20, 30 years in a underground facility, super secret, only working on scientific advancements and utilizing that skill set. So it's a person that does not see people. I do not have relationships, and I find that completely different side of, or an alternate reality version of what Alan could have been like had I discovered pi and then went that route. So by the time I come out and I shave, because for that character he certainly doesn't need to have facial hair. I shave. I had more hair, so I had my hair kind of a little crazy. The glasses certainly work for that character. So then I get into this hyper energy state, and even talking about it right now, kind of your breathing starts going higher, and then you start embodying this character, and then he's very excitable, and he doesn't understand the social norms, and he's right there, and he's just so thrilled to be speaking to somebody about it, right? So I start kind of getting into that, and then I am in that character who's the scientist. So I do my scenes, I do it's one scene for that particular character, lots of dialogue. And again, this character is moving. So as in a self-tape, you have to figure out a good way of doing that, because I'm not supposed to be moving, but I'm supposed to be interacting with multiple people. I'm supposed to be referencing different objects, and all of the stuff kind of has to work together. So I get into that energy, I do the scene, then I have to get to a third character who's, again, completely different. So I find my way back to Alan, and Alan is not hyper energetic, although it may seem like it in this video. I'm more, I'm more balanced. I'm much more of an introvert, which would be surprising to a lot of people. But I find that, and I say, okay, who's the third? The third one is a high-level military man, somebody who is in position of authority, somebody um, who is a person that is successful, is married, somebody who likes to be in the position of authority. So I kind of go back to my notes, I go to the main characteristics of this person, and then I start changing. For that person, glasses are not the right option. That person, the hair cannot be fluffy. The hair is going to be, in a nice position. The hair is fixed. This is a person that doesn't have to move and doesn't have to say a lot of things. Okay, so I'm starting to kind of get more of a feel. But then where am I in that butterfly effect? How can I get to that person? So I use the same kind of branch, and then I split it off from the first, low-level military guy. Instead of, the girl who I end up marrying and I get divorced, we are happily married. I continue my progression within the military. I reach a high rank. Everything is good at home. I'm a position of authority. I know who I am. There's a lot of confidence. There's a lot of this grounded energy of, I know who I am. I get respect anytime I walk into a room. So it's a very different kind of this, God-like type of an energy. So I find my way into embodying that particular energy. And then I do 2 scenes, the most kind of heavy dialogue in those, and then I'm done. So the whole process takes 7 hours to record these 3 separate characters in 2 different languages and get everything done. So I submitted, I find my way back to who Alan is in reality, as opposed to alternate reality, versions of Alan. And then thoroughly exhausted, but still just, kind of excited from this whole thing, I send everything off, and then I kind of start winding down. So then the most interesting part to me, and the part that, again, when we're looking at ourselves, it's hard to be as objective as we need to be. But as I'm cutting these videos, before I submit them, as I cut these videos, and then as I look at the low-level military man, as I look at the scientist, the high-energy scientist, and as I look at the high, ranking military man, I look at the eyes, I look at the energy, and I see three distinct, different people. And that's the part where I said, okay, I got it, because my approach allowed me to use, this butterfly effect, right? The alternate reality version, find something, then go in a different path, and that allows me to stay grounded, still stay Ellen, but a different version with different emotions, with different value systems, with different characteristics, and a different past and future. It allows my all of the imagination work to really happen on its own. I don't have to create something or push something. It comes organically and it makes sense. And I feel comfortable in all of those characters. So as I looked, as I was cutting the tapes, no longer tapes, as I was cutting the videos, and I saw three distinct people, I said, that's it. So the method worked. We'll find out what happens. We'll find out if I ever get a call about this particular project, if I'm going to get any of these roles or I'm going to get none of these roles. I really kind of put it aside, and aside from creating the video to share it with you, I'm not really thinking about it, because in our business, we can't spend energy on something that we have zero control over. The only thing that I'm grateful for, or two things that I'm grateful for, is the opportunity to audition, and the second opportunity to audition as three distinct characters, because usually we don't get a chance to, and somebody who's watching us, they don't know whether it's you or you're really embodying this character. Here, at least I was able to demonstrate that I can be three different people. Whether they're going to buy any of those, whether they're going to think I'm any good, I have no idea nor control over it. All I can say is that this methodology allowed me to be three different people within a very short period of time, and to create that audition while still getting back to who I am and maintaining all of those grounded natural energies. So I wanted to share this with you. Again, please use this if this is something that resonates. Please throw it away if you think it's BS. I just wanted to share in case you will find it useful. Thank you again for your time. I appreciate it. Enjoy your weekend and happy November.